Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit Podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. Hey, Summit host, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, founder of Virtual Summit Software and your host on the Virtual Summit Podcast. So we are in for a treat on today's episode. We are going to be diving in with the legendary Trena Little here. We are going to be looking at the aspect of her experience as a summit speaker. She's spoken on quite a few summits. And we're going to be diving into some specific details and topics on one, how do you know both as a summit speaker and a summit host if what you're doing is actually converting or even being worth your time. So I'm really excited to jump into that. But we're also going to get into some specifics on video tactics as well. Being summit host, everything there is a video. So before we do that, first off, Trena, I am so excited to have you here with us. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule to chat with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Now, before we jump into the specific gems and all the genius you got in your mind on summits, I would love for you to just take a quick second and let our audience know just a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Trena. I have two small kids at home, so I'm doing the mom business owner juggle. And I actually started my business about 4 years ago when I hated the job that I was in. And I was like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better life ahead of me. And so I somehow got into YouTube at one point, and I have a master's degree in business. And so I started to see the power of YouTube and video with my business sense. And I started to just dive into YouTube and figure out like, what is the best way a business could use this just for fun? Because it wasn't something that I would ever incorporate in the job that I was in. And so I learned it all on my own and I started figuring it out, and it just kind of got the ball rolling with my passion for YouTube and video and allowed me to start my own business.
A master's in business. Man, we are talking to a very, very smart person here. So I'm going to try and play my role over here and keep this very intellectual as well. So now, Trena, we talked about on our pre-interview chat, that you've been on summits, both, physical in person and then in virtual. Can you tell us from the perspective of a speaker, what's the benefit of doing the virtual summits versus, for example, like a physical summit?
Yeah, I like both. Being a mom, I can't always travel as much as I want. So being able to reach people on virtual summits is great for me to do it from here in my home. And really all you need is just a webcam and a mic that we're using here today. But I also like to do in person because I do like to get out. It allows me to kind of like brainstorm and mastermind with other people who are doing some things in the business. So I like to really balance the both out, but both types of summits really allow you to grow your reach and build your visibility with people that may have never found you before.
And with that, when you're doing these virtual summits, we're going to get into the tracking aspect of it in a minute. But like, you had to start somewhere. You probably didn't start off going, I'm going to do a summit and let me build out this whole tracking aspect of it. Like, what kind of made you decide I need to be looking at how these summits are turning out? Like, kind of walk us through that mindset.
Yeah, so if I'm going to be on a summit, that's obviously going to take some time out of my day. And if you're tracking your hours and you value your hours at X amount of money per hours, you want to make sure the time you're putting into your summit is going to pay off. You're not necessarily working for free to be on a summit. So when I am preparing for a summit, not only am I tweaking my presentation for that particular summit, obviously the outline is usually kind of similar depending on what that summit talk is going to be about. I'm going to change it based on the audience. So if it's photography-based summit, obviously I got to talk to them a little bit differently than if I were to talk to maybe dentists. So I also spoke at a workshop for dentists. So tweaking the presentation for my audience takes time. And if I'm going to put the time into it, I want to make sure that it's paying off for me as well.
We've done the unthinkable. We've convinced 35 of the most successful summit hosts, coaches, and consultants to give you their prized possession, their summit email copy. Get more information at summitscripts.com. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. And then additionally, with the time aspect, do you typically support the summit? If you speak on a summit, are you promoting it, whether maybe through email or social? And how do you decide if you are or are not going to do that?
Right. So I am a huge planner. So you can kind of see over the corner there is a calendar here. It's not as full. Normally every single day usually has some kind of color posted on it, but since we're winding down here towards the end of the year, it's not packed, but I have my 6 months plan at a time. And so I'm making sure when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking back to back at places so that I can give each summit appropriate promotion. So I'm not like pounding my social media following or pounding my email list with watch me speak here or get this virtual summit here. So I'm really making sure, does that summit fit into my strategy? Am I speaking somewhere else that month? And so I try to just make sure it's spaced out so I can commit the promotion to that summit as well. And it really helps if those summit owners can send me over some swipe copy or some promotion, not much promotional, I'm thinking like Instagram photos. My mind is blanking. Some type of imagery that I can use as well, because that just makes it a lot easier for me that I can just go plan it on my social media scheduler.
I completely agree with you there. I know very few speakers who are going to promote a summit if they don't have the swipe copy and promotional materials there. I think that was the word you're going for.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, let's actually talk about that in the aspect of when they reach out to you, kind of like just a little bit of a time frame. How much time in advance would you like, ideally? Let's say if we're talking to a host, here's the best time in advance you would reach out to the speaker. Here's how much time in advance you would give them, like the promotional materials, the swipe copy. Like what's your ideal?
Yeah, for online summits, I generally like at least 6 to 8 weeks so that I can make sure I have time to tweak that presentation, record it. Because, like I said, I have a lot of at least from month to month, every first of the month, I have that month planned out. So I'm sitting down and tweaking it even more. Like I said, I like to plan 6 months at a time, but then I go in each month to really tweak down basically every single day. As a mom, I got to have my day scheduled to the T because I get 2 full days here at home alone. And those are kind of the days that I do a lot of video since it's quiet. So I generally like to have 6 to 8 weeks out so I can make sure I have that time in my schedule to commit to prepping and recording that presentation.
I mean, that's so valuable. Hopefully all you summit hosts are listening into this, because I know I'm hand raised over here. I've made the error of pushing it to the limit, like last minute. Here's your copy. It goes out tomorrow. And usually speakers aren't going to be able to get that out. So thanks for letting us know that. Let's kind of switch in a little bit into the kind of analytical aspect of this. So you talked about, needing to know like how this is paying out and how this is benefiting you. Can you kind of talk us through the early stages of when you started creating a way to track your success on summits, and then how that has evolved to what you do now?
Yeah, so when I got started, obviously it pays for me to build my audience on a summit. And so if I'm allowed to promote my opt-in, which usually ties into the presentation that I'm doing anyways, it kind of gives that student or that viewer of that summit just kind of a takeaway that they maybe have a checklist or maybe they have a roadmap to follow from the presentation that I gave them so that they can have that on hand. And when I first got started, I would just send them to my generic landing page, like my free opt-in landing page. But what then I realized was I couldn't go back and see, well, how valuable was that summit? Like, is that summit converting for me? Is that audience converting for me? How am I going to be able to do that when I'm sending everybody to one specific page? So then what I realized is it's super simple. I use lead pages. All I needed to do was just duplicate that lead page, change the name to the summit title, and then tweak a little bit of the wording on that page to say, hey, welcome XYZ Summit attendee. We talked about this and here's your opt-in or whatever. And then I can track it, my leads on lead pages. And I can also tweak the email funnel that I send them through as well, specific to that audience. So like I said, whether it's a photography-based summit or maybe a dentist-based summit, I can then just go into my email funnel that I use all the time and maybe just tweak a few wordings or a few examples that I use specific to the photography wording or dentist wording, because that's going to help convert a lot higher, because it makes them feel like, oh, wow, she knows me, she gets me. And it's going to increase your conversion rates when you can really personalize those funnels, but not like create absolutely new ones, just tweak the ones you already have to really talk to that audience.
And I want to jump into a little technical jargon or a technical aspect here. We don't get too technical usually here, but I feel like this is a really good aspect that Summit hosts can be using as well, because a lot of us are running, like myself, Summit series. So we have multiple summits in different niches. And I would love to just hear like kind of a high level how you do that. So you say from the technical aspect, like maybe what do you use for either your funnel or your email sequence? Do you just clone it? Kind of just walk us through that so our Summit hosts have heard that process once.
Yeah, so like I said, I use lead pages, which is kind of the page that I send them to. What makes it really easy is you can do a redirect from your website as well. So I have Squarespaces. And so all I do is it'll be trenalittle.com/summit title. And then from lead pages, if they opt in, there will be a specific tag and sequence inside of ConvertKit, which is the email software that I use. And so all I have to do is just duplicate, say, if I have a welcome sequence, I just duplicate that welcome sequence and name it that summit sequence, and just go in and change a couple of wordings in that email funnel. And then I can actually see from lead pages how many people landed on that page, how many people actually converted. Then from there I can go into ConvertKit and see, okay, they clicked on that first one, they clicked on that second email, and I can actually see, how well they're going through that funnel and who's clicking on the links to maybe whatever I pitch them. So it just really allows me to track whether or not that summit was valuable for me as a business owner. So if they do reach out to me again, I'll know, okay, yeah, it's worth it to do this summit again because the last time I made XYZ sales.
That's so good. So we've all heard through that now, so we can apply that, whether we're summit hosts or speakers. I mean, I do both, obviously, speak and host, and I can use that across all of those industries or on both sides of that. So let's kind of get more into it on the speaker side. Some of the strategies you're using when you're setting up how your presentation, like you said, you make them a little bit more specific depending on your audience who you're talking to. But being a video pro here, why don't you kind of talk us through some stuff that you're thinking that maybe other people are not thinking about?
Yeah, so I hate slides. Personally, I hate making them. I hate talking through them. I feel I can connect better when I'm speaking to the camera, when people can see me, see my passion, talking with my hands, moving a lot. But what I do when I'm crafting out my presentation, I have a general outline. There's two different talks that I generally have when I'm pitching a summit, or if a summit comes to me, there's two general talks. And then what I'll do is I'll just change things in there for each target audience. So for example, the most recent one I did was for a dentist. And so I pulled out, when I'm talking about how to find video ideas on YouTube for a dentist, I pulled out specific videos and search terms on YouTube. And so I just captured that. So it felt like, oh, wow, she's talking to me. She's just not pulling out some generic search term. Like, she actually cares about me learning. And so that's how I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to make sure that all the wording in that presentation is part of that target audience. I do use screen flow, I think it is, because I can put myself in the bottom of the screen. I want people to see me. People are going to connect with a human, and if they see you, it really makes them more engaged and more likely to convert to your opt-in, more likely to potentially convert to work with you. So using ScreenFlow allows me to have a couple slides, especially when I'm trying to show some things, but also have me in that presentation as well.
I love that. And that is so important. I know we have, some of our audience that maybe is a little shy to be on camera, but you got to do it. It converts better, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to the planning and prepping, because the items you were just talking about there, it's not like a simple, quick, easy thing you just throw together 5 minutes before you hop on the interview. Can you kind of walk us through your actual preparation process? So like, when do you start that? And about how long does it take? And like, do you plan that like for time in your schedule? Just for all of us non-organized people over here, kind of walk us through that process.
Yeah, so like I said, I have two presentations that I will go to Summit summit organizers too, so they can pick one or the other, because it helps me. I'm not going to create something from scratch. I've already really worked hard on these two. I've already tweaked them. I've already presented them. I'm comfortable with them. And so those have already been done in advance. Those specific presentations probably took about 2 to 3 hours to craft each, from scratch. So having those already outlined is a huge time saver. So when a summit comes to me, it will just maybe take me about an hour to run through it, tweak any wordings, add those extra pieces that really make it feel like you're talking to them. And then I will generally schedule an hour to record, because I know what I'm talking about. I can get through it. I know most summits usually are looking around 30 to 45 minutes for a presentation anyways. And so I will screen flow record it. Usually there's not much I'm editing. I may just edit the end and the beginning of me hitting record, but most of the time it's pretty just straight through 30 to 40 minutes of me talking through my presentation, through my slides. I may have an iPad to the side of me just to remind me of some notes that I wanted to say. So I may be scrolling through my iPad as well to make sure I'm hitting all my key points. But that's generally how long it takes. The really hard part is getting that outline of those presentations done in the beginning.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your virtual summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
So being, the YouTube video expert, can we kind of shift up a little bit and talk about some tactics or strategies for video? Because as summits, it's all video, right? So first off, what is your preference? Is it like kind of content videos, sales videos, opt-in videos, or all of them?
Yeah, so I generally have a 3-pronged strategy on YouTube, where there are discoverable videos that are meant to bring new people to you. So kind of that organic free growth. Community videos, which is meant to build that relationship and that connection with your current audience. So the discoverable videos brought these people to your channel. Your community videos are to make them feel like you're their friend. And then when you drop that sales video, they're already bought into, they already love you, and they're ready to convert. So that's kind of the strategy that I use on YouTube. And I can tell you, my very first speaking engagement, my first one ever out of the gate, was paid. They paid me to travel there and to speak. And I definitely attribute it to my presence on YouTube, because they knew how I spoke. They knew how I taught. So they knew they could put money behind me because they knew what they were getting in advance. And so if when I am talking to anybody that wants to be a speaker or build their speaking kind of profile, definitely be on video if you want to get those speaking engagements, so that the conference organizer or the summit organizer can actually see you and see how you teach. It's going to be a lot easier for you to book those.
I like that. And it makes you more visible, more discoverable, as you were just saying. So let's focus in on sales videos. So with most summits, we have some type of sale or all access pass or something that we're pushing the audience to either during or right after the summit. So creating a more engaging, a more higher converting sales video would be of benefit for us. So can you talk us through some of your strategies or suggestions on how to create a great sales video?
Yeah, so sales visit videos aren't necessarily my strong point, because I have built the relationship, but the same kind of breakdown is the same for all videos. And what happens is you pretty much have 2 to 5 seconds to grab people's attention on video. So you have got to hit hard with a hook at the beginning. You don't want to have any kind of fancy branding or music or anything. You need to be in their face and really hit home. What are they struggling with that your summit is going to resolve for them? So if they are a business owner and maybe they hit a plateau in their profits, and that's the kind of target audience, you need to definitely address that and say something like, also using the word you in the first 5 seconds as well keeps people watching your videos longer. So you need to definitely say something like, Have you been at your business for the past couple of years and you just feel like you can't break that revenue plateau or something like that? Well, what if I told you I could show you how to do it in one day or something? Like, really pitch how you are going to solve their problem to get them to watch. Then you're going to go into your intro, so who you are and your summit. You want to share with them why it's important, and then have that call to action, how to go sign up for it. What page to go to. Maybe there's a link in the description if you're doing a YouTube video, but really have that call to action on how to get to the page to sign up.
Is there anything with the call to action? Is there any kind of like, or with any of this actually, is there any like no-nos, like don't do this, stay away from that, or just things that maybe you see regularly that you're like, stop doing that?
Yeah, avoid any type of fluff. You just want to get to the point. In today's world, we have attention spans of about 5 seconds. And so adding B-roll, adding screen shares of the summit sales page, adding testimonials and maybe past summit attendees, if you have video testimonials or even text testimonials that you can splice in about every 5 to 7 seconds on your video, that's going to keep people watching longer as well. When it's just you talking to the camera, people are going to get bored. One thing that we do to keep engagement is also kind of zooming in. We don't do it with our camera, we do it in editing. So it's just like zooming the video in and out. That keeps people engaged. Having call out text so people can read and hear it at the same time, which makes them remember it better as well. But just don't record you talking to the camera because it's going to be boring. And also, I hate when people record their video through Zoom and upload it to YouTube, or do it live on Facebook and upload it to YouTube, because people aren't going to watch. The quality just isn't there. And on YouTube, the competition is there. So you definitely need to be recording it from a camera or a webcam, but make sure you're not recording it through the internet, because that's going to fluctuate the quality of your video throughout. There may be like skips of you talking, just because when you record it through the internet, there's a lot more technical glitches.
That's so true. And it's good to know. I'm like, oh man, I record all my videos through Zoom. Stop doing that. Okay. Got it. Now, let's kind of circle back a little bit into like hosts and finding speakers and reaching out to them. What are some of the maybe the best example you've had of somebody reaching out and asking you to speak on a summit, and then maybe one of the worst examples like of not to do, so we can see contrast?
I definitely like when people reach out to me and feel like they've done their research. So they say maybe they heard me on this podcast, or maybe they saw me at this conference speak, and they can really pull out specific examples of what I talked about, or really knowing what it is that my strengths are. That's really when I value that person, instead of just kind of getting maybe just a blanketed swipe email that everybody's getting, just telling me about the summit. That's great, but how do you see me fitting into your summit, and how do you see your audience benefiting from me? That's what's going to help me determine whether this is going to pay off for my business or not, because like we talked about earlier, if I'm going to put the time into doing it, I want to make sure it's going to pay off for me as well.
And then what is, so like blank swipe-ed copy is no. What about, have you had any other kind of experiences that you would recommend hosts not do? Because I hear that a lot from my friends that are in the influencer space, and they get a lot of requests to speak on summits. So we're trying to educate all summit hosts there on kind of the appropriate and non-appropriate ways of doing it.
Yeah, like I said, just make it as personal to that person as possible. Make it show that you care about them, you value their expertise. Point out some of the things that you really like that they teach about. Instead of just saying, I'm hosting a summit, I think you'd be a great fit, we're teaching a summit about XYZ. Well, I feel like that could have been sent to anybody. And if I'm going to take the time to help you out, at least take the time to know who I am. Because you can go to my website or my YouTube channel and see that I'm a YouTube strategist, but that doesn't show me that you actually value what I know and my expertise.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
Excellent there. And so when it comes to like summits in general and you're speaking on them, what is like what would be the best thing, or not even the best thing, like what do you expect to get minimal out of it, and like what would be a way to kind of go over the top?
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate, and at this point in my business, the only way a summit is going to be valuable for my time is if I can pitch a free opt-in at the minimum. I want to be able to at least get that person that's watching the presentation and the time I put into it onto my list so that I can then, pitch them maybe something later on down the road, or let them get to know me a little bit more, maybe get them to my YouTube channel, maybe even a new YouTube subscriber. So at the bare minimum, at least being able to pitch a free opt-in, which generally goes hand in hand with the presentation that I'm doing anyways. It's usually like a checklist about the presentation, or a worksheet, or a roadmap, or something that goes hand in hand, and it's going to give value to that viewer of that presentation anyways, for them to have something to maybe work through, to think through, have a checklist. And the extra bonus would be even to pitch like a course of mine, or a program of mine, or how they could book a strategy session with me. That would be going above and beyond. But I know a lot of summit owners, summit organizers are trying to get people to buy the virtual tickets, so they're already kind of hitting the paying on the front end. So absolutely, at the minimum is the free opt-in. And one thing that the last virtual summit that I did do really well is they kept us up to date on, hey, heads up, like they're going to be getting a lot of emails if they opt in for everybody's presentation. So maybe just space out that sequence you're going to do a couple weeks later, so that the whole summit attendees aren't getting like 50 emails in one day because you're all doing this email sequence. So I thought that was really great that they were like, hey, heads up, just so you know, like maybe you want to delay this, giving me some tips on maybe what I would need to do to help convert those viewers into a course attendee or a strategy session client, something like that. I thought that was really great, because as business owners, we may not think about that. Yeah, they're all if everybody's getting a free opt-in and there's maybe 10 presentations in one day, they're going to get slammed with email sequences. And it's not only going to make us look bad, the business owner, but it's going to make that summit owner look bad too, because now that viewer of that summit is getting their inbox exploding with emails from everyone.
That is such a good point there. I like that. Like, so let's jump into this topic real quick as we start to round down this episode, the communication aspect. How do you prefer, what's ideal scenarios when it comes to host and speaker communication, frequency, type, etc.?
Mm-hmm. So one summit that I've been in that does it really well, that I've spoke 3 or 4 times on the summit, is they actually have a teachable course that you enroll in, and it shows you how to get your affiliate link. It has the swipe copy in it. It has the link to all the graphics, so that I can just go there instead of them bombarding my email, because my email is a disaster. And so for me to find something important for a particular summit, it's just not going to happen in my inbox. They also do communicate in Facebook as well. They have a Facebook group, which is okay. But again, Facebook is kind of the same as my inbox. I'm just not probably going to see it. I'm in Facebook for just my group coaching program. So I usually just go to that Facebook page, that Facebook group, and communicate there. And I'm not really seeing what's going on. So I thought the Teachable platform was really good. They gave me tutorials on how to get my affiliate link and how to do some different things as well. So I think if you can go above and beyond and really talk to the speaker and maybe kind of a platform like that, Kajabi, Thinkific, Teachable, whatever you want to do, to really help them make their life easier. So here's how you do this, here's how you do that, all of the kind of assets that you need to promote it in one location. I think that was a really great job.
I think that is a really great suggestion there. I really like that. So as we round this down now, Trena, what is like maybe your final kind of tip, suggestion, strategy that you think summit hosts should know?
Help the speaker as much as possible. Like I said, if you can make my life so much easier, I'm going to make your life easier, right? I'm going to be able to promote your content a lot easier. If you're like, hey, here's some swipe copy, here's some graphics. Actually, here's the course here's a tutorial on how to get your link set up. Because sometimes it's kind of difficult to make sure that you're getting the link right, because sometimes maybe we're making affiliate sales as well for people signing those tickets. So anything that you can do to make the speaker's life easier is going to end up helping you, because they're going to be more willing to do it than if you're just like, here's your talk and here's when you're speaking and here's the due date. It's kind of like, okay, now what?
Excellent. Well, this has been an absolute blast, Trena. I am so happy that we got to spend this time with you and pick your brain on these informational gems that you've just been delivering with us. Before we hop off here, I'd love for you to just let all of our Summit hosts listen in know where they can find you hanging out at and the best way to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so my website is my name, TrenaLittle.com. I am on YouTube. Obviously, I post every Wednesday. That's youtube.com/tips with Trena. And then I share a lot of behind the scenes on Instagram stories, and that's Trena_Little. And I like really engaging with my audience in the stories there.
Awesome. So go check out Trena over there. Get those behind the scenes. Thank you again so much for hanging out with us today, Trena.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, all you Summit hosts, for tuning in to listen to Trena and I. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software, and your host here on the Virtual Summit Podcast. Don't forget, your message matters. So go out there and make an impact in the world. Don't forget to check out all of the valuable resources that Trena just shared with us over in the show notes at podcast.virtualsummits.com/094. That's 094. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit Podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the Summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.